It was supposed to be the adventure of a lifetime. 5 men boarded the Titan submersible, a sleek vessel that could dive to the depths of the ocean and explore the Titanic wreck site. They were excited and curious, eager to see the legendary ship that had captivated their imagination for years. The pilot was Stockton Rush, the CEO of Oceangate Expeditions, the company that operated the submersible. He was also a relative of a couple who died in the Titanic sinking, and he wanted to honor their memory by visiting their final resting place. He was confident and experienced, having piloted the Titan many times before. The passengers were Hamish Harding, a British billionaire and adventurer who held several Guinness World Records for feats such as diving to the deepest point of the ocean and flying around the world over both poles. Shahzada Dawood and Suleiman Dawood, a father and son duo from Pakistan who were among the wealthiest people in their country and had a passion for history and exploration, and Paul-Henri Nargeolet, a French explorer and former naval officer who had visited the Titanic wreck more than 30 times and was considered one of the world's leading experts on the ship. They had paid $125,000 each for the privilege of joining the expedition, which was part of OceanGate's annual voyage to monitor the decay of the ship's wreckage. They had undergone rigorous training and safety briefings, and they had signed waivers acknowledging the risks involved. They knew that diving to such depths was not without danger, but they trusted the technology and the crew. The Titan was a custom-built, experimental vessel that had not been classified by any authority. It was made from titanium and filament-wound carbon fiber, and it was bolted shut from the outside. This meant that the crew inside could not open it. To be let out, a team on the surface had to unseal the hatch. The submersible had up to 96 hours of oxygen on board, as well as backup systems and emergency beacons. It also had cameras, lights, sonar, and manipulator arms to collect samples and artifacts. The dive began smoothly. The Titan descended into the dark abyss, communicating with the surface via radio and acoustic signals. The crew marveled at the sights and sounds of the deep sea, spotting fish, corals, and other creatures along the way. They reached their destination after about 2 hours, the Titanic wreck site, lying at 3,800 meters, 12,467 feet, below sea level. The crew activated their cameras and lights, and began to explore the ship. They saw the bow section, still intact and majestic. They saw the bridge, where Captain Smith had given his last orders. They saw the grand staircase, where passengers had once danced and dined. They saw the debris field, where personal belongings and fragments of history lay scattered. They also saw signs of decay and corrosion, as nature slowly reclaimed its territory. They were awestruck and moved by what they saw. They felt a connection with the past, with the people who had lived and died on board. They also felt a sense of wonder and discovery, as they witnessed something few people had ever seen. They collected some samples and artifacts, following strict ethical guidelines. They also took photos and videos, documenting their experience for posterity. They spent about an hour at the wreck site, then decided to head back to the surface. They had seen enough for one day, and they wanted to share their stories with their families and friends. They also wanted to rest and prepare for another dive the next day. They were happy and satisfied with their adventure. They began their ascent, following a carefully planned protocol. They had to ascend slowly, stopping at intervals to adjust to the changing pressure. They also had to avoid any obstacles or hazards that could damage or entangle their submersible. They communicated with each other and with the surface team, reporting their status and position. Everything seemed normal until they reached about 3,500 meters, 11,483 feet, below sea level. Suddenly, they heard a loud bang, followed by a hissing sound. Then everything went dark. The Titan had suffered a catastrophic implosion due to enormous water pressure. The submersible's hull had collapsed inward at an incredible speed, crushing everything inside it. The air inside had ignited in a fiery explosion, incinerating everything that remained. The crew had no chance to react or escape. They were killed instantly. The surface team lost contact with them shortly after hearing an acoustic signal consistent with an implosion. They tried to re-establish communication, but there was no response. They feared the worst. They launched a search mission in collaboration with other agencies such as the U.S. Coast Guard and Navy. They used sonar equipment and underwater robots to scan the area for any signs of the submersible or the crew. They hoped to find survivors, or at least recover the bodies and the wreckage. They searched for days, covering thousands of square miles of the ocean. They finally found a debris field that matched the description of the Titan. They confirmed that it was the submersible, and that there were no survivors. They also found some personal items and artifacts that belonged to the crew. They collected what they could, and marked the location for further investigation. They announced the news to the public, expressing their sorrow and condolences. They also vowed to find out what caused the implosion, and to prevent such a tragedy from happening again. They said they would honor the memory and legacy of the crew, who had died pursuing their passion and curiosity. The news shocked and saddened the world. People mourned the loss of the crew, who were admired and respected for their achievements and contributions. People also paid tribute to the Titanic, which had once again claimed lives in its watery grave. People remembered the stories and lessons of the ship, which had inspired generations of explorers, artists, and dreamers. The story of the Titan submersible and its crew became a legend, a tale of adventure and tragedy, of courage and sacrifice, of discovery and mystery. It became a reminder of the beauty and danger of the ocean, of the power and fragility of life, of the wonder and curiosity of humanity.